Hello there, everyone. As many of you probably know, I am a huge Power Rangers guy. I love Power Rangers, and Power Rangers Once and Always, the newest movie that came to Netflix, straight to Netflix a while back, was released. And this was like a nostalgia anniversary type of film. And I gave my thoughts about it prior to its release, about how I thought based on the trailer. I thought it was going to suck big time based on what was shown, but I was pleasantly surprised that it was okay, and I liked it quite a lot after I first watched it. But honestly, the longer that it sat with me, it's been a couple of months now since it's come out, I feel a lot less good about it. And it might require some rewatching to do a proper breakdown review, which I think I want to do because there's a lot of points that I want to have with it, but I also kind of want to see what other people think about it too. So I might check out some of their videos before I do my own video, like really talking about it. But given my thoughts on it, from what just given my thoughts on it, they pretty much have you're in the present day, all of the Power Ranger continuity with like all the 25 or so seasons that have been out to this point are canon in this version of the movie, which was something to address essentially. Rita is back, but she's in like a robot body, which I thought was kind of stupid at first. But I mean, the reason why they have it be that makes enough sense, but I still wish the design was different because I think the look is just pretty stupid, to be honest. But that's just me, I guess. She's fighting Billy, and then the rest of the team ends up coming there, and Trini, the Yellow Ranger, ends up getting killed by Rita, which I thought was a brilliant move because one, the actress who played Trini has been dead for a long time, and they're utilizing like the death of a ranger, which in the Power Rangers canon, as far as I can tell, the first Ranger death was in Power Rangers Lost Galaxy with the Pink Ranger. Killing herself with Kendricks. So that was like the first Power Ranger death, essentially. So I like how in Mighty Morphin, like this one being a Mighty Morphin one, they have the death of a character in a way because that can really help bolster the rest of the cast and characters and stuff. So yeah, that does. It gives them a lot of motivation. And she has a daughter as well, which they imply that like Zach and Billy are like kind of, I don't know if they're like her fathers, her uncles, whatever. I don't know. That they I have to watch that again to remember if she has another figure in her life, but essentially it seems like Zach and Billy are taking care of her as well. It turns out that the reason why Rita returned was because of Billy. He was looking for a way to bring Zordon back, which they kept the continuity that Zordon was killed by the Power Ranger Andros, the Red and Space Ranger, when they're having the huge final battle there, and all around the galaxy the dark forces were invading everywhere. Dark Spectre's army, the Alliance of Evil, whatever, was conquering the galaxy, and so he had to destroy Zordon in order to have his good energy like cleanse a bunch of the evil essentially, and it got rid of a lot of what was there. But like with Rita, I guess it cleansed her and turned her human, which I thought was a little odd with that, like why she got turned human and why others were destroyed, like even a Clipter right there, who had some signs of being like a good type of person, even though he's like a full-on robot, was showing good signs of like taking care of people, but he got eliminated entirely. A little funky with some of the stuff, I'll say. But anyway, her essence, I guess, floated around there. This kind of almost reminds me of like a theory for Palpatine, like after he got destroyed on the Death Star, his essence is floating around in space somewhere, which I don't know. All right, I can't say that's the worst idea ever. That's fine. Whatever. It's okay. It's okay. But anyway, when he's looking for Zordon, when he's looking for a way to bring back Zordon, Rita, her energy gets like intercepts it or something, and she gets brought back instead, and she takes over Alpha's body, and so that Alpha gets turned into Rita. A little weird, honestly, but whatever. Like it makes enough sense for why her look is the way it is, and it's a physical body that's there. So okay, she's got a new body, she's back, she's got her powers back, and she can start wreaking havoc again, trying to take over the world. Sure. And she brings back a couple of monsters, Slizzard and what's his face? I forget the other guy's name, to be honest. And like he has the power to turn people into action figures essentially is kind of how I take it. He turns them into toys, he shrinks them and they can't move. And she's going to try to use Power Rangers energy, like their powers, to like as a batteries essentially, to take herself back in time and to make it so Zordon never found his first team of Rangers, and she can end up taking over the world or something and ruling the universe the proper way. with all the knowledge that she has now or something. Try to share it with her past self, essentially. And okay, this is where a lot of the aspects, as I'm thinking, as it simmers with me, started to not feel as right. So I like how they have other Rangers, like other Power Rangers, Lost Galaxy, Lightspeed Rescue, uh, even the Beast ones, whatever. Like all these other Power Rangers are in continuity with this one. Great. What kind of is lame though is that she has like a huge putty army as well as these two monsters that she sends to attack all these different rangers from around the world and capture them and use them to like fuel her energy, her time machine here essentially. And they all kind of get captured. I mean, I don't think they show all the rangers get captured, but a good portion of them get captured by this. And I'm just kind of like, are you fucking kidding me with some of this? Because a lot of these rangers in like they fought far worse than putties and these specific two monsters. They fought the big baddies of their seasons. You know, they fought a lot worse than this, and it's like I don't know. It's kind of like expecting me to believe that like all these ones get fucking taken down like this. I think there should have been a lot more done with this. I was told that the Power Rangers Once and Always wasn't just going to be one movie; it was going to be like a show. And so I kind of thought that it was going to set the premise for the show with this kind of a thing, and that there'd be a lot more stuff happening. Maybe she bringing back other villains here and there, or bringing new ones in to do stuff. I don't know. I have no idea. Or she was going to go back in time, and then it was going to be like this is why we had a limited Ranger team here to go and fight, and they have Jason, Kimberly, and Tommy get frozen as well. So that's why they bring in Rocky, Catherine, and and Adam and everybody else essentially. Like, well, they tried to get Adam. Well, they would have gotten Adam and Aisha, but they were in space. I didn't know if they were alluding to like an SPD type of thing, a little similar to that, but they were too far away to come back in. But they have this team assembled here, which has not been assembled with this roster specifically before. So that was a new element to it, essentially. Trini's daughter will end up becoming the Yellow Ranger on this team. That's why she wasn't present throughout most of the fighting material. She ends up being the Ranger at the very end. Uh, I don't know. There's just some aspects just I don't know, didn't sit right with me with this. They had the Megazord battle at the end, which was fine, whatever, I guess. I mean, I was kind of annoyed in general that the Rangers had their morphers at all because they made it very clear, especially in later seasons, like in the Power Rangers in Space episode with uh when Carlos is struggling as a ranger because he made a mistake and hurt Cassie. He wasn't sure about it with himself as a ranger, and then you see Adam coming back. He was a former ranger, of course, and he is like helping him out with dealing with this. And they end up getting ambushed at one point, and Adam pulls out his old morpher, and Alpha comments on that. She's like, you can't. Whatever. Alpha's like, you can't use that morpher. That thing could kill you. It's the power grid's all messed up with it. The power coins were lost. Like these are cracked. If you morph with that, that could kill you essentially. And he's like, well, I got to try. And so he makes a huge risky move by morphing with this broken power morpher. And and uses up whatever last power that had, and ends up like I don't know. They set that kind of thing up, and then in this, they can just use their morphers. It's fine. They have like duplicate morphers, and with the power coins, they're not supposed to do that, but they did for this. I don't know. A little. I have to see what exactly they say again in the Power Rangers Once and Always for the exact wording, but like to justify why they had a few extra power coins and like how that's okay or not okay, because I don't know, that just seems a little funky to me. The Megazord looked like shit, looked like dog shit. It was full CGI, which I know that they do a lot of CGI effects in the shows, but they don't even always look that bad. And they often usually do like the transformation to be CGI, and then they have the actual like battle and with the guys in costumes, and those always looked fine. Like those weren't as silly as I think people want to say they look. They look fine. They look good enough. They have the spark effects and whatever the robot noises. It works well enough. You don't need to have it be a full CGI thing. It looked far more cheap. It looked cheaper than it does when they're in like straight up costumes, which is not how that's supposed to work. I don't know. It just was a bad call, I think. But that's whatever. Maybe if they had the CGI look better, then it would be different. But I don't know. I don't know what type of budget we're really working with here. I know that a lot of people had an issue with Jason David Frank and Amy Jo Johnson and stuff not Foley, Austin St. John, with them not returning for their roles in this reunion. But and remember, this was before Jason David Frank died. Before he was there, they were filming. They had this film before he passed away, and I think they decided to not come on for their own reasons. I'm not sure what all the reasons were, but I know that JDF was working on a different project with Bat in the Sun for the Legend of the White Dragon, or maybe he just didn't have interest to come back for a reunion. I don't know. Maybe it was pay. A lot of people seem to be mad at Amy Jo Johnson for a brief time about her not being in the special, but maybe she had her reasons to not be in there. I don't know. I mean, there's, just because the TV show that you're in is having a reunion doesn't mean that you must be there. It's kind of how I feel. So it's not a big deal. And they worked around that the best they could within the story. But I don't know, if it was to be a continuation, it would be a little awkward if they're not there. So I can get that. But I don't know. The choreography was fine. A lot of the scenes were fine in general. There's a lot of good character moments with Zach and Billy, especially being the main two, I'd say, our main two protagonists of this show. And with Trini's daughter becoming one trying to rise into it, she thought that she can just take her mom's morpher and then just morph because she wants to, or she wants revenge. I'm glad that they have it be that she couldn't just morph with her being angry, because the power coins are supposed to choose people that are worthy. And if you're in this type of mindset of just rage, then it wouldn't likely let you use the power. So I like that they had that as an element. Again, I have to rewatch to see if it was more blatant and like obvious in the movie, or if it was a little bit more casual about it a little bit. I don't remember. All in all, there are things in the film that I liked, and as I think about it, some things that I don't like. And I want to do like a really good in-depth review on this at some point. I really do, because I fucking love Power Rangers. But it makes me, I gotta watch it again, and I gotta, maybe I'll watch some of the promotional material with it if the actors talk about it and whatnot, and I'll have to see what some of the reasons were for some of the decisions, because that might help explain a lot why it ended up being the way that it was. Because again, a lot of it is good, and I'm glad they mentioned a lot of things, and they mentioned even like Aquitar. That's where Billy was before, and it's like, okay, that's where he spent most of his time. It's where the last we saw him was, and they mention it. They mention a lot of these things, but there's just some things about this, the more I'm thinking about it, that it just is more hollow a little bit than it maybe could have been, or it felt the first time watching through. So I don't know. I'll watch it again and I'll give a much better review at some point here. I'm hoping to do that within the year, within 2023, because I don't want to wait too long on this, because I do like talking about Power Ranger shit. So that's all for now, and have a good one.